Hey everyone, welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, a show in which we discuss movies both old and new. Today, Nathan is unfortunately out, but have no fear because I did watch a new movie this past weekend in theaters, and that movie is titled The Smashing Machine, directed by one of the Safdie brothers, Benny Safdie. The film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Mark Kerr as it goes through his time in Pride FC, as well as documenting and exploring the relationship that he has with his wife, played by Emily Blunt. Not just the relationship with Emily Blunt, but as well as his fellow fighters and coaches. So I did watch this film, and I was kind of hyped about watching this film. If you guys don't know, Benny Safdie is a part of the Safdie brothers. He's made films, classic films, such as Good Time, Heaven Knows What, and Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is one of my favorite films of the 2010s.
Uncut Gems.
Right.
So I was really hyped getting into watching this film. And when I left the theater, I'm not going to lie, I was rather unimpressed by the movie. I thought the film struggled at times. I would say that this film definitely had a lot to be desired. For me, in terms of this film, some of the issues that I had, before I get into the issues, let's get into the positives, right? And before we get into the positives, let me just give my thoughts on this film. I would say in terms of this film, I was rather unimpressed by this film. There was a lot of potential that this film could have had, and I wanted this film to be so much better than it actually was. But in reality, what this film was unimpressive, dull, rather banal, and it played into the tropes and cliches of what we've seen fighting movies to be. So, all that is to say, I was slightly disappointed when I left the theater after watching this movie. Let's get into the positives, right? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in this movie, and to be honest with you, he does really well. I mean, this is easily my favorite performance from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson since the Tooth Fairy.
What movie idea pitched to you?
You become the Tooth Fairy.
So that just shows you how good he is in this film. I think he does a really good job at exploring the sincerity of Mark Kerr in this movie. I also really enjoy the visuals. I thought the cinematography was excellent in this movie. At times it reminded me of the Florida Project, maybe not of that quality per se, but the ways in which the colors pop out in a rather sort of timid environment, I thought it reminded me of the Florida Project. I thought the jazz music that was in the movie was also really good. I thought the music that was played during the fight sequences were amazing. But in terms of the positives, those are the positives that I'll give. This movie is a slog to get through. I remember when the first fight scene happens in which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is just getting his head pummeled with knees. I checked my phone thinking, oh, we're halfway through the movie. We're going to be wrapping up soon. Maybe there'll be one sequence in which it shows the working out progression of Mark Kerr, because again, this really does play into the tropes and cliches of fighting movies. So I thought, okay, this will certainly play into that by doing a fight sequence, not just a fight sequence, but also a final fight with the hero comes out victorious. And I checked my phone, and it was literally 30 minutes into the movie. I was like, oh God, this is going to be an issue. So the pacing of the movie was definitely an issue. It was a slog to get through this movie. Another aspect of the movie that I thought was quite lacking was the relationship between Mark Kerr and his wife, played by Emily Blunt. I felt as if you just could have done away with those scenes entirely, and the film would not have been damaged as a result of it. I felt as if the film would still have been as okay as it is if you just took those scenes out of it. I don't know. Heading into this film, I didn't know what I was going to expect. When you watch previous Safdie brothers films, obviously this is not a Safdie brothers film, it is from a Safdie sibling, but when you see previous works that Benny Safdie was a part of, You think of schizophrenically edited films. You think of films that are engaging, that are enticing, that get you involved in the film, that literally have you on the edge of your seat in anticipation as to what's going to happen next. And this film was not that, If anything, I wanted this film to be an examination of fighting, an examination of the fighter, of the psychology of the fighter. Heading into this film, I wanted something along the lines of, say, The Wrestler. But instead, what I got was a derivation of Southpaw, a derivation of the later Rocky films. And that's not what you want from a film of this nature with this much hype and this much marketing around it. I don't know. Throughout this entire film, 2 words came to mind. Oscar bait. Because this film is very Oscar baity. All that is to say, this film struggled. This film had its issues. I wanted it to be better than it actually was. I wish I could come here and say, no, this film is actually good. It's well worth your time watching. But I think in the month of October, when you have films such as Good Fortune coming out, when you have films such as Roofman coming out, the new Yorgos Lanthimos film, Bugonia, there are so many other options that you could watch at the theaters that I don't think that this film is really well worth your time watching. If it's in your bucket list to do, then go watch it. But watching this film, I did watch the trailers for the film. I mistimed my visit to the theater, so I did catch a bulk of the trailers that were seen in the theaters. His sibling, Josh Safdie, is releasing a ping pong movie later this year. And it looks like it's going to be better than this one. It just looks like it's going to be better than this one. So, if anything, if you're going to watch a Safdie sibling movie this year, it might as well be Marty Supreme. So, there's not much that I missed in terms of my overall thoughts on this movie. I mentioned the cinematography, I mentioned the jazz music, I mentioned the relationship between Kerr and Coleman. There was this one scene in particular in which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character is shooting up, meaning he's doing roids, and I was like, oh wow, I guess there's no acting involved with this. It's just they just decided to turn the camera on and document his life, I guess. Allegedly, I'd say. But yeah, overall, there were issues with this film. I really wanted to like this film. I really did. I did not want to come on and just completely crap on this film. But it did feel Oscar baited at times. It did feel as if it played into the tropes and cliches. And it felt meandering. There are many scenes in this film in which not much happens. There's a scene in which Emily Blunt's character gets drinks. There's a scene in which Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt drive in a red Mercedes. And while visually it looks pretty good, there's not that much that it offers in terms of the actual story. There's a scene in which Kerr and Coleman reach out in the back, go through the parking lot area, and they are swarmed by fans. How is that important for the actual movie? I don't know. There are moments in this film where you sort of scratch your head and say to yourself, was that really needed in the final cut? But all that is to say, if you enjoy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if you enjoy fighting movies, you'll enjoy this film. If you want to see a rather typical fighting movie in the same lines as, say, Southpaw, which I enjoyed Southpaw, I thought it was a fine watch. It wasn't anything stellar. But if you enjoy standard fighting movies that are unaware of the themes that it's trying to present, or maybe that's not the right way of saying it, but if you're a fan of fighting movies that don't understand the hilarity that it's trying to go for, this is definitely a movie that you should definitely go and see. That is my glowing endorsement of the movie. But anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on the movie. Let me know how you guys felt about it. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys not enjoy it? The bookshop has been updated, so please make sure you check out our picks for this week, or my pick for this week. I don't know what movie we'll discuss next. Maybe Nathan will be on the pod next week. We don't know. Maybe we'll have a guest. If anything, Tron Ares is coming out, and I'm somewhat hyped for that movie. I'm skeptical as to whether or not it will be good, but I am hyped for the movie, and I think it should go well regardless. So I'll definitely talk to Nathan and see if he's down to discuss Tron Ares, if he can fit it in his very busy schedule. Busy is in quotes there. But we will reconvene next week, and we will see where we go from there. So anyways, those are my thoughts on Smashing Machine. It was less than stellar. It was quite dull at times, quite boring, but I'm sure the Academy will have a thrill with the movie and with the performances in the movie. So those are my thoughts on the movie, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, guys.